on, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute, so welcome back to the series 2. Guys, today we are taking a look at Mob of the Dead. I'm actually really excited for this one because this is where I personally think it all starts to come together. Guys, I think that the gameplay and the story and just like everything to follow after this map is just so exciting. So this episode is going to be a long one. Strap in. Guys, if you're new here, consider subscribing. We do a lot of zombies over here. Without further ado, Mob of the Dead. Let's do this.
Black Ops 2 Zombies is interesting. You know, following the Moon Easter egg and its conclusion, BO2 was kicked off with the Victus storyline. In transit, and Die Rise Buried would soon follow. However, just before that, Treyarch took a sharp turn and released Mob of the Dead.
Yeah, they
which
did.
was bizarre at the time. The first
it was.
The Victus maps were received very poorly, and zombies seemed to be rapidly declining. But then stepped in Mob of the Dead, the savior of zombies. Before this map released, a lot of people were on the fence, similarly to now with BO4. People contemplated, do I want to continue playing this DLC cycle? I mean, Transit was...
Yeah, I personally kind of fell off of zombies for a while. This was around the time that I went to college, or was the game right before so. So I didn't get to play much Black Ops 2. I had a lot of other stuff going on in my life, but I do have some memories on Black Ops 2. But I think that regardless of, you know, whether or not you were one of the ones that fell off, I think that this is where it all starts to come together, like I previously
absolute
said.
Hot garbage. Nuketown was fun, but primitive and lacked any real depth. And Die Rise was a very polarizing map as well. A lot of people seem to enjoy it, but an equal amount of people seem to dislike it. Mob of the Dead stepped in and immediately dismissed any and all doubt we had about Treyarch Zombies moving forward. We knew with this map we had received a masterpiece, and later, of course, we would receive Origins. This new story, new premise story, flipped the game mode on its head and did a complete
Seriously, what a
360.
great map.
We went from a controversial, unpopular Victus storyline to a new and exciting premise storyline, all in one game, and the two storylines intertwined made BO2 so interesting. The first three maps, collectively, were some of the worst we had ever seen. However, contrastly, the last three were
I think we can all agree on that. At the first three maps of BO2, where we're not Treyarch at their greatest, you know what I mean?
Best. I mean, Mob and Origins are unquestionable top 5s, and Buried, despite being a Victus map, was also incredible. Mob of the Dead is not only my personal favorite map, but also happens to be, in my opinion, the greatest zombies map of all time. Now,
I knew this was his favorite. I wanted to make sure that, like, that we got that. I think that I might switch it up on you guys come Origins, but I knew that Mob of the Dead was Tim's favorite. Again, hey, guys, these videos are made by Tim Hansen. Make sure you go check out his channel. I am going to leave it down in the description like I always do. I just want to make sure he gets that credit for these videos. These are his videos. We're just reacting to them. Great videos, though. Great.
Of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We're all bound to disagree. We're all different. And there is a case to be made for a lot of maps out there. Certainly Origins.
Look at those machines, dude.
Krobi, Shadows of Evil, whatever name you want to throw out there, there is likely a case for it. But in my eyes, Mob of the Dead has the crown, and a lot of you seem to agree. I ran a poll asking you what your favorite zombies map was. Thousands of you voted, and Mob of the Dead had the highest percentage.
Wow. Wow, our boy Mob coming in with the highest percentage at the most favorite zombies map. Right on.
Origins is right up there, 1 or 2% behind. You guys can still vote in this poll. I'll put the link in the description.
What's your guys' favorite zombies map? Leave it down in the comments. If you had to rank your #1 zombies map, which one would it be?
This video, without trying to copy Nick Zaru's, I'm going to plead my case as to why Mob of the Dead is the greatest zombies map of all time. If you do go on to enjoy this video, whether you agree or disagree, show your support, leave a like, man, and subscribe. You are not going to want to miss the next episode. We are going to be covering Buried, and I can't wait to see you there. Let's talk about Mob. It all starts with the Prohibition era, the 1930s, the illegalization of alcohol, the distribution of it, the purchasing of it, the consumption of it. Crime in America was rapidly increasing. It had reached levels the likes of which we had never seen before.
I love this little bit right here. Let me just interrupt just for a second, and I promise I'll let him go on through this history lesson, but that's what I love. We're getting a little history lesson with our zombies here. Great stuff.
So much crime, in fact, the prisons were being filled. More space was required, which is when Alcatraz prison was created. This prison held the most infamous of criminals, including Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly. No, not the rapper, the actual, original Machine Gun Kelly. Alcatraz held the worst of the worst, and oftentimes prisoners who attempted to escape other prisons. And in our Call of Duty universe, this prison would soon hold 4 of the most ruthless, cold-blooded criminals. Sal
Yes,
DeLuca,
sir.
the mob leader, heavily involved in gambling, prostitution, and the distribution of alcohol. Sal led an entire empire right under the nose of the cops. Below him was his henchman Billy Handsome, who of course took care of the dirty work. Sal rarely got his hands dirty. Billy committed the murder. Along with these two was Michael Finn O'Leary, a gambler, a guy who dealt with the money. And to top it all off, another money handler, a con
Weasel.
man, was Albert Arlington, aka the Weasel, a man who could con you out of your very soul. These mobsters would make life for the police excruciating, but eventually their crimes would catch up to them, and they were sent to the Rock, Alcatraz prison. It's all very
Taking place in a fictional world, but around real events, like real history. Not real characters or anything like that, but just kind of like the event, the setting, the time period.
fascinating to me. Treyarch created 4 characters based off of celebrities, I may add. Characters we were not familiar with, characters we had never seen before or had a reason to care about, and made them not only instantly likable, but also in some ways relatable and understandable. We understood these characters and the era they were in. And even with the very little background knowledge we have of these characters, we were able to piece together a general understanding of their lives. We are living in this era through these characters and get a sneak peek of what life was like on Alcatraz Island. These 4 mobsters, this cast, clicked. It just clicked. It's honestly a remarkable feat by Treyarch. Introducing a new set of characters in any television show or video game is always difficult.
And there's depth to it. There's depth to our characters that we get in this map, and they kind of let you have it right there in the intro cutscene, and I love that. You don't have to like piece anything together about your, characters. There's some stuff you got to put together, and some stuff you got to figure out for yourself, come the Easter egg and all of that stuff. But like character, the characters by the time you're done watching that cutscene. I love that.
Somehow we were able to latch onto them so easily.
Quick
and so
attachment.
Quickly. I think it has a lot to do with the
attachment to the
simplicity of the idea. They're just 4 guys. Yes, 4 guys that committed brutal crimes, but they have just as little knowledge of what's going on as we do. They're not mad scientists or ethereal beings that we commonly see and
They're
can't
criminals.
relate to necessarily.
They're
And
just-
on top
yeah,
of being
they're-
straightforward, simple, and easy to understand, they're also badasses. And all of this is even more
For
fascinating if you're a
sure.
history geek like myself. I love learning about U.S. history.
History was my favorite subject in school. A lot of people liked math. I didn't know too many people who liked English, but I knew people who liked science. I liked history. That was the subject that I was just like, cool, man, because it was just like a whole class of pretty much storytelling that was just sort of easy to follow. The dates are kind of where it got mumbled jumbled, but man, history was great.
And this was a major chunk of it. Reliving this era through these characters and through this story is awesome. We saw what life was like out there in Shadows of Evil, and we see what life is like locked up here in Mob of the Dead. These 2 maps together, this story, this tandem, it's remarkable. Having been locked up for quite some time, the 4 mobsters begin to devise a plan to escape the island, similarly to the real-life escape from the real-life Alcatraz. This is another reason why Treyarch nailed this map and nailed the Easter egg, because the Easter egg is based on a real-life event, a real-life escape. Of course, a warped version of it, a Call of Duty Zombies version of it, but nonetheless, a very similar feeling. Rather than building a boat and floating across the bay to escape like in real life, they gather parts and craft Icarus, a plane, and escape to the Golden Gate Bridge.
What a badass thing to put in a map, dude.
The best part about this Easter egg is the duality of it. There are 2 different paths.
Yes,
the cycle either continues or breaks in this purgatory. You see, the Weasel devises the plan. When things go south, when they aren't able to escape, the other 3 mobsters, filled with rage, bring him up to the rooftop and brutally murder him, and then are sent to the electric chair to be killed. When this happens, the cycle continues, and they are sent back to the night of the escape to continue their eternal struggle. However, there is an alternate ending to this. To break the cycle, the Weasel kills the other 3 mobsters and gets to walk away a free man. This story arc does numerous things to the player psychologically that we probably don't even consider. First of all, it creates lots of tension between the characters. Tension that we can feel, real conflict, and also it creates sides. It makes us choose a side, quite literally, either the Weasel or the other 3 mobsters.
Man, guys, you remember how I mentioned I didn't play much Black Ops 2? So, like, Oh God, I obviously know all of this stuff, like with all like the zombies YouTubers I follow and all the streams that I've seen and little gameplay I've experienced myself, but what a cool story that Mob of the Dead is. What a cool freaking map with the alternate endings, guys. Like, I have so much respect for Mob of the Dead. Like,
Quality of the Easter egg
so
offers
much
us
respect.
choice. It allows us to pick who we'd like to side with. Mob of the Dead story is simply fascinating and encaptures everything a good story should have. It's got instantly likable characters, and amongst them both external and internal conflict, a relatable and understandable setting. It's unique, and everything is in and of itself a history lesson on top of all of this. In a vacuum, Alcatraz Prison, aside from all of this zombies nonsense, is already a very fascinating concept. And then of course you blend in the zombies in the game mode we love, it becomes twice as fascinating.
So
Mob of the Dead
good,
tells a
dude.
story like no other map, and its deviation from the standard traditional zombie storyline is also another reason to like it. It's sort of off to the side, it's a story within a story, and it's a singular experience, something that doesn't tie in with every other map. And because it's different, and because it's unique, it gives us a breath of fresh air. And it also makes it easier to be a favorite. I'm gonna throw a random example out there. Shangri-La, right? It's a small component of a big ultimate storyline. Shangri-La is still many people's favorite map, but because it's blended in with all of these others, like Call of the Dead and Moon and Ascension, it's less likely to be a favorite. But because Mob of the Dead is so deviated from everything else, and is also such a massive experience in and of itself, it is easy to like it the most. The story
That seems to be the reoccurring pattern, I'd say, for the most part. Like, give us something new and different. Like, another great example, like on the opposite side of the spectrum of Shangri-La, is Shadows of Evil. So different from what we had been like playing beforehand, and turned out to be one of the greats. I cannot wait to get to that episode, guys. But in time.
story of Mob of the Dead is amazing. The atmosphere and the vibe of the map on top of this, Alcatraz Island in general, just the concept, fucking amazing. But wait, there's more. On top of this story, you have some of the best gameplay, if not the best gameplay Zombies has to offer.
Yes,
you spawn
at this point in time, for sure. Like up to this point in time, this was it. This was the peak map for sure. I can't deny that. Again, I don't have very many memories with it, but I can't even deny that.
in Afterlife. This gives you an immediate impression.
This is where
an
it all
impression that you're
clicked.
in for a unique experience. An impression that you're likely going to be hopping back into Afterlife later onto the map. It gets you a quick feel. Before round one even starts, you're dipping your legs in the water. You're getting a feel. Now, Afterlife was a major innovation, a major change in zombies, and some people didn't care for it. But at the very least, Mob of the Dead didn't fail to acquaint the player with it comfortably.
Yeah, giving us something new. And again, this is something that we're going to see in Shadows of Evil with Beast Mode. But like, also, it takes away like the need for quick revive. If you think about it, like it opens up a perk slot. I thought that the Afterlife mode was a great implementation.
Of course, getting used to something takes a bit of time.
It's a great addition.
With Mob of the Dead's Afterlife, it didn't take too much. Afterlife was not only essential for the plot, but was also a very cool way of powering up the map. Instead of flipping one switch, we had to individually turn everything on. And with that, we actually had a choice as to what we could keep on or off. Mob of the Dead's Afterlife not only gets major bonus points for innovating, but also, once again, sets the map apart from the rest. When in Afterlife, you of course shock to power up, but you can also move quickly, jump far, and revive yourself. That's right. Every Afterlife acts as a self-revive. On solo, you have up to 3 of them and gain one every single round, which gives you, of course, more chances at life, which is a great compensation for no quick revive on the map. It only makes sense. It was a big change, and some people didn't like it. Some people preferred to flip one switch and buy quick revive and not have to worry about this big mess of Afterlife. But for myself and many others, this was a really cool and fun innovation. The best part about Mob of the Dead is you have so many different directions you can choose. So many different paths. Yes, the ultimate goal is to get to the bridge and pack a punch, but there are many different ways you can go about that. Unlike a lot of other linear maps that push you in one single direction, this map offers many. First and foremost is the Warden's Key, but once you've obtained that, you can go anywhere you want. You can go through the cafeteria up to the infirmary, you can go down through the showers to the docks, or you can go up to the gondola down to the docks. There are essentially an infinite number of ways you can go. And really, there is
Guys, and just like watching this gameplay, I mean, like he's saying a lot of great things, and but like watching this gameplay, and I'm sure he'll cover it. Mob of the Dead nailed atmosphere once again. Once again, another map that just perfects atmosphere. We haven't like really seen this since. Oh, what would you guys say? Well, like, I don't know. I don't even remember the last map to nail atmosphere. Derice? Nocturne Totem. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
One way
But
that's
this
better
nails
than
it,
the
guys.
other, because Mob of the Dead's
It's
flow
scary.
is second to none.
Varrock
Mob of the
was
Dead
another
is
good
the
example.
best flowing zombies map ever. Period. The map is very balanced. Every area bears significance, whether it's a dog for the Hell's Retriever, an acid gat kit part, a shield part, a plane part. There is absolutely, positively zero wasted space on this map. Everything's important. Everything ties in beautifully together. Setting up on most maps.
I wish we had a remaster of this, like we do sort of in the Steam workshop, but it doesn't work very well. I just wish we had like a really solid remaster of Mob of the Dead. That would be so cool.
Maps usually consists of opening up a couple of doors and then flipping a switch. On Mob of the Dead, it's obviously a lot different. It's a craft that can be mastered. It's really hard for me to explain. Setting up on Mob is one giant free-flowing motion. It's just one constant motion through the entire map, just picking up parts, shocking things in Afterlife. Mob of the Dead is one of the very few maps that feels satisfying to set up on. It doesn't feel annoying or tedious. You don't have to wait for anything. There isn't all of these irritating factors being thrown at you. It's really all dependent on how efficient you are. You don't have to wait for elevators. You don't have to wait for a bus. Everything
So basically, get good.
is dependent on you. And in my opinion, it is the perfect difficulty. Setting up on Mob is not easy, but it
Get
is also
good,
not hard. It's
noob.
just something you have to get good at, like anything else. You
Get
just have to
good.
practice and become efficient. The primary focus of the map is collecting the plane parts so you can build the plane and get to the bridge. The plane parts are scattered very evenly across the map, so you have to open the entirety of it to get everything you need, which is actually a good thing because it's good to get everywhere around the map. It shows that every part of the map has purpose. While doing this, there are also 3 dog heads you have to feed zombies to in order to get the Hell's Retriever, a very good wonder weapon, and it is versatile. It does many different things. It collects drops by throwing it at them. You also can kill zombies with it, of course. You can charge it.
I can't remember, whenever you're feeding the dogs in Mob, do you have to wait, just like you have to do in Rise and Drek with the dragons, for him to finish chewing? Do you have to do that same thing in Mob? I honestly can't remember.
Up for an even better effect. It's infinite. It just requires a recharge, which is great for ammunition. The Hell's Retriever is more than worth the process of getting it. It is well worth the effort. And then while focusing on these 2 tasks, there are a couple of other parts to be picked up. The acid gat kit parts.
The Hell's
if you
Retriever
even want
is
the
great.
Acid gat, it's not even required.
All the things that we have on this is great. There's just, like he said, so much in Mob of the Dead. You got the blunder gat, you got the acid gat, you got the new traps, the acid trap. That's right, the acid trap, guys. My love for traps. I mean, like this one's so cool. It doesn't make much sense, but it is just a cool thing to have in the map. You got the spork thing, right? There's like some sort of spork thing. I love the warden, the boss zombie. I think that's what he's called. Dude, so much is going on in Mob of the Dead, but like he said, it doesn't feel tedious to set up. I love that description. Like you said, it's a constant flowing motion of setting up. But I mean, even a noob like myself, I could hop into Mob of the Dead and still have a good time, even though I don't. It's not muscle memory to me. Mob of the Dead isn't muscle memory to me. It's not one of my maps.
Just pack a punch.
But I know I would have fun.
Get the
I just know that.
And there are the shield parts. Now, it sounds like a long chores list. It sounds like a lot of things to grab, and it sounds tedious. Which I guess is sort of true if you're the type of guy that likes to play Nocturne Totem and open up 2 doors. But largely,
Nah,
it's a fair process.
not me.
And you're not really going out of your way to grab anything on this map. That is the big thing here. You're never going out of your way. You're never really inconveniencing yourself to grab anything. Mob of the Dead does demand a little bit. It demands you to grab the plane parts to get Pack-a-Punch. And of course, Pack-a-Punch is
Which
a
is
very
fine.
essential component to the
You
game.
know,
But
it's just going to demand one thing. I mean, that's fine.
doesn't demand too much. It doesn't cross the line. Zetsubou Zetsubo no Shima is a great example of a map that slightly crosses the line. You have a long list of parts to grab on that.
We will get there when we get there. We have we have a history of Zetsubo no Shima on this channel, let me tell you what.
Some of which are pretty easy to grab, some of which are very, very tedious to grab. But on top of all of these parts, there are many doors, all of which are very expensive. There are thrashers constantly being thrown at you. You never really have enough points to get around the map. Zetsubo is a perfect example of a setup that crosses the line. MotD of the Dead
don't even get me started.
Doesn't cross the line, though. The effort it takes on Zetsubo no Shima, in my opinion, isn't comparable to the rewards you're getting, but on MotD of the Dead, they're more than worth it. All you're doing is focusing on getting plane parts and getting the Hell's Retriever. That's really it, and then you're grabbing a couple of parts on the way. But by doing this, you have an infinite damage wonder weapon, which can be upgraded later on to the Hell's Redeemer if you so choose. It's just an extra bonus thing. You now have another area of the map accessible, which is honestly a very good training area as well at the bridge. I know not everybody feels this way, but
flying to the Golden Gate Bridge to pack-a-punch your weapon, guys, come on, leave a like just for that. I don't even have to say anything further. Just leave a like just for that.
MotD of the Dead is the only zombies map I feel excited to set up on. Of course, on other maps, I don't hate setting up. I just would rather get straight to the gameplay. But on MotD, setting up is a craft. It's something that I actually enjoy doing for some reason. And when you're done setting up, the high rounds are some of the best zombies has to offer. First of all, there are so many badass traps on this map. The sniper tower, the acid trap, the blade trap, and there are so many good training areas as well. Of course, you have the bridge, you have the cafeteria, both phenomenal. If you're good enough, there's also the showers, there's also the rooftop. You can make a lot of things work on this map. There are so many choices. And speaking of choices, you got the Blundergat now. Which wonder weapon did you want? There are 3 options. You can get the acid gat by putting it in the acid gat kit, or you can get the sweeper by directly pack-a-punching it, or doing both and get the vitrolic withering. It's sort of...
I knew about the ventrolic withering. I knew about the Blundergat. I don't remember the sweeper, but that is so cool. You get to choose the way you want to go with that.
Like having all of those different elemental wonder weapon options.
Come on, Treyarch, please just listen. Like, seriously, like, look at the masterpieces you were putting out before. Like, just look at it. And then, like, the trash that we're getting now. Just in comparison, I mean, wow. Just, please, just give us something like this again. Seriously.
Wow. Except you don't have to go on a quest to do it. You just put it in the pack-a-punch machine or put it in the acid gat kit. You can choose to get the Hell's Redeemer. You can choose to get the Golden Spork. There's a really good variety of perks on this map as well, one of which was introduced on this map, Electric Cherry. And the boss of this map, Brutus. He is a perfect
Brutus, that's his name, not the warden.
He can punish you as much as he can reward you. He's mildly difficult and doesn't appear too often to the point where I get irritated. Sometimes I hate the guy's fucking guts. He walks around, locks everything up, and it costs 2,000 to unlock it. Yeah. Very irritating. But on the other hand, if you kill him in a timely manner before he goes around doing that, you get a drop, oftentimes a very good one. And you get quite a few points as well, which is great for the earlier rounds. He adds a perfect minor chaos to the map. Not a major chaos that's probably going to kill you like a Panzer, a minor threat that you definitely need,
or a big inconvenience like George,
to keep in mind. You definitely need to kill him, but he's not in immediate danger. You can hoard him up with the rest of the zombies. He is manageable. Every aspect of the gameplay, both setting up and the high rounds, are fun and enjoyable, and not every map can say that.
Not every map can say that,
one or the other, or neither are very good. MotD of the Dead has it all. And have you ever seen a zombies map that has the story so intertwined with the gameplay? You are every time you go to Pack-a-Punch on the bridge, you are completing the plan. The story is being told directly through the player's gameplay, and when you get shocked and go back into Afterlife, back to the map, that is the player being sentenced to death and being brought back into the purgatory back on the map. The
gameplay it's just so good. It is so good.
Directly correlated with the story, and again, not a lot of maps can say that. And the pure aesthetic of MotD of the Dead is nothing short of
the atmosphere.
It's one of the scariest zombies map ever because of the soundtrack, because of the way everything looks, of course, with the fire, the hanging corpses, the blood, all of the satanic references and references to the Illuminati. The map is genuinely bone-chilling. And
I'm telling you, the next greatest map to nail atmosphere is right here, and it's gonna hold that title, I think, for a while. We're gonna have to take a look at the other, episodes ahead of us, which, if you guys want more of that, seriously, subscribe over here for that. But like, to nail atmosphere, MotD of the Dead,
and it looks fantastic and scary, which is what zombies should feel like. I mean, look around you. You feel damned. You feel doomed. You feel hopeless. It's really horrifying sometimes. Mob of the Dead's atmosphere is second to none. It is truly a phenomenal feeling. Mob of the Dead has everything a good zombies map should have. It has an amazing, unique set of characters that tag along with a fascinating story at a fascinating historic location. It has a great variety of weapons, traps, perks. Setting up is exciting. It's mildly difficult, but not too much.
Isn't there a BO2 remaster in the works? I think I saw something about that. That's something leaked. But dude, we just need it. We need it. We need Mob of the Dead. Origins would be cool. We already got that in BO3, but I think an honest remaster of that would be pretty sick. But just, guys, Mob of the Dead remastered would be just so cool.
In big ways.
I'm sorry.
It also didn't change the gameplay
still stuck
too much.
On that,
it still
but
felt
seriously.
like classic zombies. It's the most balanced map ever. It's the best flowing map ever. And in my opinion, it is the greatest zombies map ever. Guys,
there it is.
I know a lot of you disagree.
There it is.
And I know a lot of you do agree. Either way, if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
I
would
personally,
really appreciate that, please.
Yes, go check out Tim's channel. Seriously, I push that. I push that every single video. They're his videos. I'm going to make sure he gets that credit. But guys, like seriously, I don't know if it's the best map ever for me personally. I have my own tier list here because again, I don't have very many memories on BO2, so not a lot of them make the list. But I cannot deny the respect that this map and even Origins deserves. I mean, they deserve those top spots on most people's tier lists. So guys, again, thank you for coming out to another episode of this. Make sure you leave a like on it. It really helps me out. I know I've said it a few times already, but subscribing would help too. We are well on our way to 115 subscribers. I got something super special planned for that 115 subscriber special. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, that would mean the world to me. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. We will see ya in the next one, guys. Peace out.